Hello everyone, welcome to Just Invest Today. And today I want to talk about looking into the future and what is the next big industry that we should look out for into the future. Because Warren Buffett did an interview and he talked about if you knew about tech and if you knew more about like the energy sector and stuff like that, those would be his next big investments into the future. So as investors today, we got to make sure that we understand that the future is going to be what holds us to our big investments because when we can hold these long-term stocks for a long time, that's where we make the big money. And we got to kind of see where is the future heading to and what's going to be like the next big industry. We can already see energy being the next kind of like big energy as the government and everyone is starting to invest more into energy, into solar, into electric stuff because we know like the carbon footprint and all of that and how that's going to affect the world. And so government is really making that push into the energy sector. So that's kind of like a good sector to kind of look at to see where you can invest in. But I still think the biggest potential is fintech. And when I talk about fintech, I'm talking about companies like PayPal, like Square, even companies coming up, like even the Ant Group that happened in China. Um, I feel like that industry is coming up really quickly, especially during the pandemic, and everyone's moving more to digital payments. I think that's the next big industry, and if we find the right players, the people that are gonna win in that category, I think there's huge potential for growth and like growth like 10, 15 years from now because guys, we gotta remember that the financial industry like hasn't really changed a lot, right? So it's kind of been the same for like 50 plus years. Like it's just the banks and then you have your credit card and stuff like that. But like when it comes to like PayPal and Square and like Venmo, like think about it. We're exchanging like money through phones where soon like PayPal wants to be able so you can pay with your phone with QR codes. So is that the future? Like what industry do you guys see the future in? And we gotta look at these stocks and look at these companies and find out which industry with which players are gonna be like the ones that are gonna make it and they're gonna survive and they're gonna last into the future. And I think that's what we kind of look for as investors because we want to be holding these companies for 5, 10 years into the future. And when you do that, you're gonna see crazy amount of gains. So when we're looking for these potential companies in these new industries and these new sectors, we gotta find the one that's dominant in its position because we want that company with a competitive, durable advantage. And the very specific, I need that durable. We need that being able to continue its growth for 5 to 10 years into the future. So that's the most key thing when it comes to new and up and coming companies. We gotta make sure that it has that feature about it so we're not worried about the market and what the market does and we know that these companies are going to be growing so fast because they have so much potential and people are looking to more online and more like fintech type of stuff to even like get loans. It helps businesses faster, especially so many businesses are going bankrupt. So that's why I kind of feel like fintech has like a huge potential to grow into the future. What do you guys think? Like, what industry do you see booming in the next 5, 10, 20 years? Because that's what we're looking for. So, I want to show you this interview in 2011, and Charlie and Warren Buffett said that if they knew more about tech or they knew about more energy, like that would be like kind of the sectors that they go in. And this is in 2011, so there are so many companies that boomed in the tech industry. And what he's saying is that once you find that industry and that stock that you need because there's so many good tech stocks during that time. So you have to find the right one, the one that you should know that's gonna last. And that's when you got to build that competency, dominant company, one with a good market share of its sector, and something that's durable and something that's gonna last into the future. And that's what we're looking for these stocks that are in these industries or in these sectors.
Okay, we'll go to area two. Caroline Tall, Boston, Massachusetts. Mr. Buffett and Mr. Munger, if you were going to live another 50 years, and we sincerely hope you do, and could add one additional sector or asset class to your circle of competence, which sector would it be and why?
Well, that's a very good question, and I particularly like the preamble. Well, you would certainly pick a sector that's large because it isn't going to make any difference to Berkshire if we get to be experts on some tiny little industry or business. I would say that it would have to be something in the. This isn't going to happen, but if I could really become expert, and I mean really expert, knowing more than almost anybody else about the subject in the tech field, I think that would be terrific. It isn't going to happen, but it's going to be a huge field. There are likely to be, a few enormous winners, a lot of disappointments, so that the ability to pick the winners, is far disproportionate to the ability to pick the winners, we'll say, among major integrated oil companies, where they're sort of all equated in price. And you're not going to have a big edge in trying to pick Chevron against Exxon, against Continental, and Occidental, and you name it. But the degree of disparity in results among larger tech companies in the future is likely to be very, very dramatic. And if I had the skills where I could pick the winners there, I would do a lot better than if I had the skills to pick the winners in the major integrated oil field. You probably will have better luck with Charlie on this one because he knows a lot more about a lot of industries than I do. Charlie, what's your answer?
Well, it would either be tech or energy. And I think that we're the wrong people to develop the expertise.